Buds. It's me, your host, Tommy Fresh, of the Fresh and Buds podcast. And today, I have a fresh five for you. This is the show where I talk about 5 things flesh and blood in 5 or so minutes because I want to. And nobody can stop me. So today, I want to talk a little bit about 5 cards that I want to make work in specific decks. Some of these cards work well in other decks. However, I think there are some use cases for these cards in certain decks that we haven't really seen them being used before. So, with all that being said, let's start out with number 1. This is going to be Red Rifting. Specifically Red Rifting. Why? Because it has 6 power. And I want to use it in Rhinar. I've thought about a little bit with Levia, but I think it's a little bit harder to make work with Levia than it is Rhinar. But some really cool use cases for Red Rifting in Rhinar is you can threaten that on hit. And when you do that, you could flash out a Bellow at instant speed, get the action point, and kind of have a better go wide turn. I think with this, you can kind of create these really explosive hands that make your opponents think about how they want to block. It's a cool way to kind of balance out those hands where you kind of intimidate everything out of their hand, and then they don't even have like a chance to block. But now you give them the chance to block, and they wonder, is this the right thing to do? What can they do off this rifting? It's always going to take 2 cards, so I think it can be really cool, really explosive. So that's something I want to do with the Red Rifting. The next card I want to talk about is Vestige of Soul, or Vestige of Soul, and not in Prism, because nobody likes Prism, myself included. No, some people like Prism. I don't want to play Vestige with Prism. I want to play it with Bolton. Now, it is really hard to get the benefit of this chess piece in Bolton. However, it seems like, man, it would be so cool. And I'm not exactly sure how to do this. I think it's going to take a little more support for Bolton, but once he gets there, I think we can probably change the way we think about how you build the Bolton deck. It might be a charge and then attack with a weapon and do some more traditional warrior things with attack reactions, and you get those extra resources. But to me, that sounds really cool. The next card I want to talk about is Blood Tribute. Now, I currently run 1 blue Blood Tribute in my Levia deck, and I enjoy it quite a bit. Now, I'd like to see the other colors be played in either Levia or Chain in a more, I guess, combo-focused Levia deck. I think it could work where the only things you want to banish are like Ghostly Visits and maybe Deep-Rooted Evils and maybe even, like Mutated Mass and stuff like that. I think that would be really sweet, and you kind of set up these turns. I think it's a card to look out for if we ever get to a really huge like combo deck that maybe we can be seeing in Levia. As many people know, I love Levia, and I'm always looking for different ways to mess around with her and kind of challenge the way her deck is built. So Blood Tribute is one that I'm looking out for right now. The next card I want to talk about, and I know it's playable in quite a few decks, is Crown of Seeds. But I want to play Crown of Seeds and Briar. And I like the idea of playing Crown of Seeds and Briar and changing the way you play Briar. Obviously, Briar's known for being super aggro or going tall or going wide, stuff like that. But what if we could somehow create a Briar deck that is defensive, control even? I don't know exactly what that would look like, but I think it would be so much fun to build that. And I really want to play around with it at some point. Maybe even this Road to Nationals season we have coming up in July. So this is something that I really want to make work, and for reasons like I want to sit down at the table with Briar and people get ready for the aggro matchup. Maybe they get ready to race, but instead you kind of play the super defensive plan and control the whole game into your favor. Seems sweet to me. I think we should look into that as buds. And yeah. And the last card I want to make work somehow is Dreadscythe. And mostly because I think this art is amazing. I mean, if you look at it, that's pretty brutal looking. I wouldn't want to be hit by one of these weapons. And I don't think at its face value it is that bad of a card either. It's just going to take a certain kind of Runeblade deck to make that work. And currently, I don't think we have that in the meta. However, if we look back to that Crown of Seeds and Briar, nonsense I was talking about, maybe this is the kind of control-y version of a weapon that we could start using. I'm not sure if this is the way to go, but it seems like maybe throwing Dreadscythe in a control Runeblade would be really neat. Sure, the 3 resources are tough, but if you're blue heavy, you almost build it like a Guardian, and I think the Dreadscythe can go to distance, and honestly, I would love to see it, being played somewhere somehow, and maybe I'm the one to do it. Maybe this Crown of Seeds Dreadscythe Briar deck is the future. But that's gonna be it for today on the Fresh Five. Thank you all for tuning in. You all can follow me at Twitter at FreshBudsPod. You can email me at freshbudspod@gmail.com and listen to the podcast. Fresh and Buds is available on YouTube. It's available on Spotify. Anywhere you listen to your podcast. And yeah, please, subscribe to, like, comment, whatever you want to do. Basically, I'm just here chatting with you all about some flesh and blood, and I enjoy quite a bit. So until next time, everybody, please stay fresh.